Hey my dudes, I run a bakery from home and today was all about prepping buns on buns. I had 3 different rounds of bun dough to do and the first one was Swedish style cinnamon buns, kanelbullar. I actually had to do this times 2 because my mixer was not big enough for a double batch. While that first round of dough was working, I was also making jam, both a raspberry rhubarb and a cherry. Then I took my maraschino cherries, I took the syrup away and I cut them in half. This is for a cake topping also that's going to go in the pastry box. And then once that was done, I got started on the cinnamon bun filling. Again, I did this times 2, even though this is the same thing. The bun dough was looking absolutely gorgeous and ready to go after about 25 minutes in the mixer. So I popped that in the freezer. Usually I will fridge it down, but I stuck for time this week, so I put it in the freezer instead. The raspberry jam was done, but the cherries needed a little bit more time. I added some lemon juice for brightness and then popped that into the refrigerator. The second dough was still working, so I got started on the filling for the third round of buns, which are gifflar. The cherry jam was pretty much done, so I just kind of flavored it up with a little bit of maraschino cherry and lemon, wanted it to get a little bit thicker, popped it back on the stove. Second dough was done, flipped the first dough out. It was pretty frozen by this time. Well, not frozen, but just very cold. So I let it sit out on the counter. Second dough went into the freezer and we got started on gifflar dough. Gifflar are kind of like bun crescents. They're like an iconic type of Swedish bun, and the dough is a little bit different than a regular bun dough. It has both yeast and baking powder in it. Anyways, I got started on the first round of rolling out cinnamon buns. This dough was just so lovely to work with, and I didn't want to go with like the normal knot, so I did this like swirly business I've been really into lately. Threw those into the freezer, and now my buns need to freeze just the way that like my time organization is with proofing in the like they have to proof overnight, which means they also need to defrost. It's a whole thing. I have to freeze my buns. I can't just like stick them in the refrigerator. Anyways, the gifflar dough turned out really well, and because you want them to be kind of like long and thin, I made these like logs of dough for individual ones. You'll see why in a minute. And I put that to rest in the fridge. The second round of bun dough also turned out super well. Just did the exact same swirly business, so everyone gets the same type of bun. Once that was done and put away into the freezer, it was time to work on the gifflar. So you want to make these really long, skinny strips of dough. I put the brown sugar filling over on top, and then you make these long, skinny snakes, and you make these really fat, like rolls, and then they kind of like the way that they proof and expand and bake off, they kind of like end up looking like crescents. You guys will see when I bake these off on Saturday, but I also have a YouTube video on like how to do these, and I was just doing what I normally do, except that there's buttermilk in the dough, which isn't normal, and then also just a plain brown sugar filling. Well, it's not really plain. I think brown sugar is really good. Anyways, I cleaned up and that was it, and tomorrow is all about cakes, so check back tomorrow. Hej då!